Hey guys, welcome back to Top Tier Sports. It's Thursday. It's time for some NFL, so we're going to get right into it. We have a lot to cover this week. Bear with me because I'm going to be looking at my notes while we go through this, and then we will end with some picks. So, first off, some crazy stuff happened around the league, just some. This past week was the NFL trade deadline. It did not get near as exciting as we expected it to be, but I will talk about some of the stuff that happened along with some of the rumors. But before we get into that, Matt Schaub passed for 460 yards. Very impressive. Good for him. In Matt Ryan's absence for the Atlanta Falcons this past week. So good job for you, Matt Schaub. That was a really big loss for the Falcons for right now, losing Matt Ryan. So the fact that he stepped in and did what he did, even though they didn't ultimately get the win, was pretty big for their team. Another thing, Joe Flacco is hurt. He will be out, I believe, 5 to 6 weeks. So we'll see how Denver can function without him at QB. They are 2-5 on the year, but honestly should have probably a few more wins than that. They've been real close in some games, a little bit better than the 2-5 record shows, but now with him out, I think they're placed about right where they should be. Andy Dalton got officially benched on his birthday. Savage move by the Bengals, if nothing else. I don't know why it happened. I mean, they lost their last game. Yes, Dalton's actually top 5 in passing yards on the year, I believe, for quarterbacks. So, very interesting move. I know as of now they don't have interest in signing him again after this year, so they're probably just trying to develop someone. But this is weird for two reasons. One, it's the man's birthday. And don't tell me you didn't know. You could have waited one more day. One more day. That's all I'm saying. And two, it's their bye week. It's not even like they had to announce it right away, as if they have a Thursday game coming up. They won't even play again for 2 weeks, and you had to tell the man on his birthday right after that game. Just seemed a little out there. Little like a screw you type move to Andy Dalton. Last news around the league before we get into trades, the Chargers fired their offensive coordinator this past week, so we will see how the new one steps in. They have a tough matchup this week against Green Bay, so I don't expect too much from him in this first game, but maybe we'll see if he plans to use Melvin Gordon more than Wisenhunt was right now. Okay, now on to trade deadlines. Not that much actually happened. Kenyon Drake went to the Cardinals. This was before the deadline, not on the day of the deadline. David Johnson is still out, we believe. Chase Edmonds is now hurt. Kenyon Drake was hurt, so there's a whole mess in that backfield. I don't even know if Kenyon Drake is quite good to go yet. Whether or not the Cardinals will say that, we don't know because they don't even want to report when their guys are hurt. So we'll see how all that plays out. But yeah, all around, I like the move for them. If Kenyon Drake is good to play right away. Otherwise, I don't get it at all between Edmonds and David Johnson. Aqib Talib got traded to the Dolphins. This was a little surprising as we've seen the Dolphins pretty much ship out everybody on the year so far. So it was Aqib Talib in a fifth. My apologies. He's not worth quite that much. And not even for a fifth, with a fifth. It was pretty much a salary cap move for the Rams, and we'll see how that plays out. He also is on IR. I didn't realize that when they first traded him. So all around, Rams just trying to make sure their team can jump back in this year, whereas the Dolphins see him as a core piece that in their next 2 years of rebuilding, he can really be a leader on that team. All around, I like it for the Dolphins. Not sure how I like it for the Rams. And that covers the main trades that did happen. Now, there were 3 rumored trades that I want to talk about, and one was Jamal Adams of the Jets was rumored of that the Cowboys had a lot of interest, but nothing ended up happening. Not sure why, unless the Jets really see themselves bouncing back next year. I don't know why they didn't trade him. They probably could have gotten quite the haul for Jamal Adams. Number 2 was also the Jets, Le'Veon Bell. The Chiefs expressed apparently a ton of interest in Le'Veon Bell. Chiefs fans were all about it, and then nothing happened at the deadline. Le'Veon Bell just signing there. This is his first year with the Jets. That would have been a huge move for him and for the Chiefs, who have a very diverse backfield that gets it done, but no special playmaker like Le'Veon Bell. And finally, I didn't even realize this one till after it was too late. The Eagles apparently expressed a lot of interest in Mike Evans, and that would have been absolutely huge for them because, as we know, one of their biggest problems is that Carson Wentz has really nobody to throw to at all. He basically has Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, but Deshaun Jackson's been hurt since week 2. Jeffrey's been hurt for a period of time in there. Zach Ertz is there now, but we're looking mainly at wide receivers. And if they would have made this move and pulled this off, they would have had Mike Evans as your number 1, Alshon as your number 2, and then Deshaun Jackson as a deep threat. Alshon could play more of a slot role, which is good for him because he's not the fastest receiver, but he's a big guy. So if you throw it anywhere to him, he should be able to get it if it's close. I think this would have been absolutely huge for them. It's kind of unfortunate they didn't pull this off, and that pretty much nothing happened like we wanted to at the trade deadline. Now, with that, we're going to jump into picks first, and we will go from there. But Thursday night game, San Fran at Arizona. I have San Fran. And then on to the Sunday games, Houston at Jacksonville. This is going to be a tough game. This is a game to watch for me this week. I'm going to take Houston. I'm still not confident with that pick, but it's tough to go against them right now. Washington at Buffalo. I have Buffalo. Chicago at Philly. I have Philly. The first rematch since the double doink. And I have Philly coming out on top, especially in Philly. Tennessee at Carolina. Tennessee has been looking solid for the most part lately, but Carolina has just looked too good in my mind. I'm taking them. The Colts at the Steelers. The Steelers, very interesting Monday night game this past week. I was hurt that I was at the game and you went down 14-0 to the Dolphins in the first quarter. Absolutely pathetic. Anyways, they made the comeback. They still won by 13 on the day, but the Colts are a lot better team than people are giving them credit for. I know it's in Pittsburgh. It's going to be a very close game, an interesting game. I know Spencer and I will both be watching along with Brett, and it'll be kind of a small rivalry within the Top Cheddar newscasters and sports anchors, but I'm taking the Colts. I still will be rooting for the Steelers. Minnesota, Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is still out, whether people realize this or not. I am taking Minnesota. I don't care that Kansas City only lost a touchdown to the Packers. I like Minnesota in this game. Jets at Dolphins. I have Jets in this one. I think the Dolphins had one of their best games they're going to have in a while this past week. Detroit at Oakland. I'm taking the Lions here because I think the Lions are just underrated, and I think the Raiders are slightly overrated. I like the Lions to come out and kind of prove that they still belong in that division, probably the toughest division in football. Tampa Bay at Seattle. I'm taking Seattle in this one, possibly the other toughest team in football, other toughest division in football. Cleveland at Denver. I'm taking Cleveland. This is going to be where they start to bounce back. Is right about now. They need to win this game against Denver if they want to bounce back and look at wild card or even the division. Green Bay at the Chargers. I'm taking Green Bay. New England at Baltimore. This game I think will be a good game, but not quite as good as everybody's expecting. Lamar Jackson has faced no defense near the New England Patriots. The closest he's faced is Pittsburgh and Seattle, and although they both play very well and did against him, it's not the same. I'm taking New England. And then Dallas at Giants. I'm taking Dallas on Monday Night Football. America's team. How could they not? But it is to be noted that the Giants just held a players-only meeting because they're sick of losing. They're sick of losing. However, I don't see that changing this week. Dallas is the better team, but we saw them lose to the Jets, so whoever knows with Dallas. Now, on to standings, because we are basically at the halfway point of the season. It's week 9. I forgot to adjust that. Bear with me, guys. And right now in the AFC East, we have the Patriots 8-0, Bills 5-2, Jets 1-6, Dolphins 0-7. I have the Patriots easily staying as the favorite and winning that division. Baltimore in the AFC North, Baltimore 5-2, Pittsburgh 3-4, Cleveland 2-5, Cincinnati 0-8. I have the Ravens still winning this division despite how easy Cleveland's second half of their schedule is. In the AFC South, we currently have the Colts, Texans, Jags, and Titans. Everybody is within a game and a half. It's very close in that division. The these teams are a lot, not a lot, but they are performing better than I thought they were. I expected this division to be close, but not quite with everybody's record at even or above. I'm still I'm gonna have the Colts win this division. I think in my mind, especially if they can pull off a win on the road in Pittsburgh, they already have a half game ahead of the Texans, but they currently hold the tiebreaker on them. And I have the Colts coming out on top, even if it's based on tiebreakers in this division. And then you have the Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos. I had the Chiefs winning this division, even without Patrick Mahomes for these weeks. They're still going to end with the best record in that division. Even if Oakland pulls off a win this week and Kansas City doesn't, they are still the best team in that division. And record-wise, I don't see that changing. My wild cards, so as of now, I see the playoff teams for division leaders being the Patriots, Ravens, Colts, and Chiefs. Not quite in that order. We'll get more into order next week maybe, or a little bit down the road. The other two teams I have making it from the AFC are the Texans for sure. And as much as I didn't think they were going to be that good this year, I think the Bills will find a way to hold on to that last playoff spot. I don't think they'll end up with a win in the playoffs as the second wild card probably, but I like them to hold on to that playoff spot. Oakland is creeping up though, along with Jacksonville. So we'll see how that all plays out. In the NFC, in the East, we have the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins. I never know between the Cowboys and Eagles who I expect to pull off the division win. I will have to look into that more. For right now, we'll say the Cowboys because they have the lead, and the Eagles are still kind of banged up. In the North, we have the Packers, Vikings, Lions, and Bears. I still like the Vikings to find a way and win this division, but either way, I think the Vikings and Packers both make playoffs. I don't see the other two coming close. In the South, we have the Saints, Panthers, Bucks, and Falcons. The Saints are clear favorites there. They currently have a 2.5 game lead, or a 1.5 game lead on everybody in that division at least. The Panthers are the only one close, coming off their 4-game win streak. But the Saints went 5-0 without Drew Brees, and now he's back. It's over. The Saints won that division. And then in the West, we have the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. It's hard to say that the 49ers won't win this division when right now their defense has looked far better than I ever expected. So we're going to have them hang on to the division title for now. And although it's very close in the NFC East for the Eagles and the Cowboys, I don't see both making it this year in playoffs after how rough their starts have been and knowing they each play the Patriots still, among other teams. So my NFC playoff teams are the Saints, 49ers, we'll say Packers and Cowboys, and then the two wildcard teams I have almost as a lock are the Vikings and the Seahawks, and we'll see how that plays out. The only reason I don't see it being the Vikings and the Seahawks is if they take their division lead, but the 49ers, Seahawks, Vikings, and Packers, in my mind, are all making playoffs. The other two divisions, you gotta win your division if you want to make it. But we see crazier things. So, thank you guys for tuning in to Top Share Sports on the Beer League Bench Talk. Let me know who you guys have for picks here in Week 9. And let me know who was the biggest player you wished got traded in the trade deadline.